What is going on, guys? In today's video I just want to talk about this Sensus navigation unit that we have that Volvo basically uses as their bread and butter throughout the whole lineup. On the top you have your indicators right there, which lets you know whether or not you are in the first center tab, your first tab, or your third tab. And every time you click on the home button, it brings you down to the center. In the center, this is your main screen. It lets you know about your navigation, which is up here. Navigation wise, we hardly use it. It's nice to have when you're in a place where there's no reception. It's rare, however, because you could also always download your offline maps for Google Maps. But you can expand it, have it use up your whole real estate. It's pretty responsive, pinch to zoom. Alright, and it can filter out your destinations and your gas stations and whatnot. Afterwards, you could minimize it, you could collapse it, and then all these other tabs or all these other widgets will let you know what you have devices connected to your car, your telephone or your cell phone, and also your last used application. Anyway, so right here you have your Android Auto. The only gripe I have about this, because it's very snappy, it's very quick, and it's very useful too. The only gripe I had about it is how it doesn't use up your whole real estate. And you can't really blame Google for it, because the whole Android Auto or Apple CarPlay is developed for a landscape type of scenario, but since we have portrait mode right here, this is the best they can do. I think Volvo could do something about it, where they could offer a firmware upgrade or even a software upgrade, where you could use everything or envelop the whole screen with this Google Maps. But I guess we'll keep our ears open for that type of update. Alright, other than that, I did another video about the Android Auto. It was very nice. It's very snappy, very quick. You can't really pinch or zoom, but you could maximize it, and from there, graphics card render it pretty quickly. Alright, and from here you could set your traffic if it responds to me, and it basically renders very quickly. Alright. Now, as I stated, this last tab is not really reserved for your Google Auto. your Android Auto, but it's basically reserved for whatever last application you use. So if you touch on your sound experience, where you could optimize your sounds, your treble, bass, sound profile, everything else, it'll reflect here on the last tab on your main screen. So same situation if you were to connect to, I guess, your driver's performance and how you're driving. This last tablet will reflect whatever last application you're using. So it's very nice in terms of that, because if you're using Android Auto, you could collapse it and basically go to, I'm not sure what the reason is for you to check your navigation if you have Android Auto open, but it's nice to have that feature. The only downside is it sacrifices your whole Android CarPlay with your collapsible tabs. Alright, so moving on, if you swipe to your right or revealing the first tab, it's basically your vehicle functions, and the vehicle functions are all in a way pretty nice. There are toggle switches. It's green for it to be enabled, and it's faded out or blurred or whichever. It's grayed out, I mean, if it's not enabled. Alright, so starting off from the top, I'll try to go through every type of situation here, but some of it are self-explanatory. You have your first tab here, which is your traction control. Alright, your lane keeping aid is basically your lane keeping aid. It keeps you, it's your lane departure warning. So if you toggle it off, basically it's going to go ahead and disable your lane departure. Your park assistance is letting you know whether or not you're hit an object. Cross traffic alert is when you're backing up, if there are cars coming towards your blind spot and you can't really see, then it's going to let you know, it's going to beep. Or if there is pedestrians, I believe it's going to let you, it's going to let the car or driver know as well. Distance alert is basically your tailgating alert, whether or not you are too close to the car in front of you. And the start stop right here is to have your engine automatically start and stop at a traffic light, or if you're in a dead stop in bumper to bumper traffic. Now the cool stuff happens on the second portion of this first tablet. Since this car has the advanced package, it means it has a 360 camera and it has the HUD, which is the heads-up display. So anyway, we'll start off with the camera. So from here you could click on zoom and it'll give you a closer zoom of what you're about to back up into. So you could zoom out or pan out, and right here you have your 360 view, which is very cool because it has your overhead display. So as you can see from here, if you tap on it, whoops, yep, so you can see your side view, your driver's view. You tap on it, well no, you tap on 360 again and you tap on your passenger view, it gives you a passenger view as well. If you turn your steering wheel, it'll let you know basically if you're gonna be curbing or curb rashing your wheel, which is very useful. All right, and you toggle out, so you press on it again, that reveals your backup camera again. You zoom in and there is a zoom function. From here you could disable your parking lines, which is useful as well if you're trying to back up into a tight parking spot. If you move your wheel, the guidance line will go ahead and rotate with the steering wheel. You could disable your cross traffic alert and also your passenger alerts here, all right, within this whole 360 camera to let you know if it's too cumbersome, if it's too annoying when you're backing up, then that works as well. All right, 360, and that's about it. You have your park in and park out. Basically it helps you, the system helps you back up into a parallel parking spot or even backing into a spot. You will have to go ahead and maneuver your parking brake, all right, and throttle as well, but the system or the car will rotate your steering wheel for you to make things easier. So that's pretty cool. I remember when the Lexus LS460 did that, and me and my father thought that was really cool. But the technology has advanced crazy amounts as of then. Headrest folding is very cool. If you press this button, if you hear it in back of me, the headrest electronically folds down. So this is pretty cool. If you look in your rearview mirror and you see that something's blocking, or if it's too in the way, you could just press this to fold down everything so you have a wide view of your rearview mirror. Now unfortunately, if you press it again, it's not going to do anything, it's not going to fold it up, but it's a very nice feature to have. And just so you know, the 2020 basically took away with this button. However, the electronic folding headrest is still there. All right, and this is your heads-up display adjustments. Is basically if you press this button, you could use these crosshairs right here to optimize your heads-up display, in which it lets you know your speed limit, your roadside information, which is a good segue for the next portion of this first tab. Now heads-up display, again, you could toggle it on and off. All right, and once you toggle it on and off, if it's green, it's going to be on. If it's grayed out, it's going to be off. All right, so once you have this on, the roadside information you could have in your screen and over here. So if you toggle this on and off, I'm not quite sure if the camera is picking it up, but basically it lets you know via your HUD and via your virtual cockpit, or whatever Volvo calls their digital dash display. So if I toggle it on to make it green, it's going to show up right there. All right, so right there, I will toggle it on and off, and you can see that it disappears. All right, and it's back on right now. Okay, adjust passenger seats. You could use your own driver's seat function to manipulate your driver's seat height, back and forth, your thigh support, and whatever. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, private locking, I believe you just set your own password. If you set your own password, basically lets you know whatever changes you make here, you have to enter your master password. All right, so I'm gonna click cancel. Corner illumination is your active front fogs. So the XC60 has LED fog lights, which is pretty cool. So if you turn your steering wheel, if you have this option on, this fog lights will go ahead and steer along with your steering wheel. Active bending lights, same situation, but with the LED headlights. All right. And wipers service position is very cool. In the Golf R, you have to turn your vehicle off, hold down your wiper stalk, and then it'll move into your service wiper position. However, with the Volvo, all you have to do is press this button right here, and you can hear that the wiper service position is already up. So that way you could go ahead and switch up your wiper blades and whatnot. So I'll click it again, and it will come down. Collision avoidance system will let you know whether or not you're about to hit something, so I toggle that on as well. What I also like about the Volvos is that their blind spot monitoring indicator is very bright red-orange, so that it doesn't confuse you with your yellow turn signals, which is a really big problem for me in my Golf R. So really a big kudos to Volvo for their color schemes. And lastly, what we're going to do is we are going to touch up on the applications. Your applications include your FM radio, your AM radio, and your XM radio. Everything else in terms of your Bluetooth will be displayed here. You could click that, or you could click this, or you could go and press your home center button. It's basically your center stack right here, or your second widget. Right, and with it you could go ahead and opt in additional phones, connect to additional phones, or your music library and whatever that you choose. If you have a USB connected via your center console sliding, up and down armrests, you can connect a USB here, which basically lets you know your MP3 files. Sound experience I kind of touched up before is basically your surround sound, your treble, your subwoofer, and whatever equalizer presets that you want to choose. And car status, it lets you know basically what your situation is in terms of right here, your oil level, your TPMS, and whatever appointments that you have. My father recently had his vehicle service, so basically it's going to be 332 days or 9,416 miles until his 20K servicing. Alright, so moving along, your Volvo ID, this is how you set everything up. Volvo actually has an app right here. Set everything up, link everything to your smartphone. I'm using the Google Pixel 2 like I mentioned before, and it works pretty well. With this application, you could it lets you know what your climate is in the vehicle. You can remote start your vehicle, unlock or lock your doors, lets you know your last trip, your fuel range. Basically it's your trip meter, or it manages your trip, and also your vehicle status. So you could also, which I find interesting, is you could basically make your service appointments within the app. If you click on the map, it lets you know where your car is also parked or last parked, and it's a nice way to keep track of your vehicle. So if you drag down the menu, just like your smartphone, you have your owner's manual. I think that's pretty cool as well, because I don't know, if you're in a situation where your hands are dirty, or you just want a quick access, or you stay in your car and you want to know something quick and snappy about your vehicle, but basically it lets you know unlocking tailgate using a remote key. I'm guessing here is foot movement, tail operations, and lets you know how to so basically it lets you know how to activate your power lift gate using your bottom sensors, using your leg. All right, which is very informative. Pretty clean font. Can you pinch to zoom? You cannot pinch to zoom, but I don't see a reason for you to be doing so, because it's a pretty big font. So if you touch up on the car, it has multiple displays for you right here. So if you are touching up on your display, it gives you display themes. And we'll touch up on all these glass, minimalistic, performance, and chrome rings. So this is your glass theme. If you want to pick minimalistic, it's going to get rid of the rings, I believe. If you do performance, it's going to be red. This is my dad's favorite theme. If you click on chrome, it's going to have some chrome rings around your tack and your speedo. All right, I usually set it to default, which is glass. Next, we have your driver's information. You can do show nothing. It's gonna blank out everything. And from here, your tach and speedo is gonna kind of enlarge or maximize. All right. Show current media. Okay. So copyright purposes, I will minimize the volume, but there you see it. It's Ed Sheeran. And driver's information. Lastly, you can show map, and it's gonna show you your navigation. We will go back and touch up on everything else. Intellisave is basically your lane keeping departure. So as I touched up on previously, you could activate or toggle on your lane departure. So what I have is I have it set to warning. So if you're departing from a lane or if you're kind of drifting off, it's going to go ahead and assist you by electronically moving your steering wheel to center out your lane. You could do both, or it's going to do your beep and also going to be manually assisting you as well. So for me, on my profile, I just set it to a warning. Other than that, you have your roadside information where it lets you know you're going above speed limit. You could adjust if you're going above like maybe 5 miles per hour. It goes in increments of 5. It's going to let you know whether or not you're going 5 miles above speed limit and whatnot. All right, I have the speed camera warning checked as well, because it lets you know based on Volvo's database whether or not you are about to hit a speed camera. Individual driving mode is very cool. In order for you to have this option available, if you click on driver's mode on your center right beneath your start stop button, if you click it, usually, let me go ahead and just uncheck it. So if you uncheck it, if you click on the driving mode, you have your eco, comfort, dynamic, or if you have your Polestar engineered equipped vehicle or flashed, you have your Polestar engineered, and also lastly you have your off-road. So if you have it checked, that's cool because you have 5 options now. You have your eco, comfort, individual, Polestar, and also your off-road. The first option is to start off with your base value. So I usually like to set it up with comfort, but there are certain themes where I like to have it as Polestar. All right, so right here, these are my settings right here. For steering, I use high, in which that's what the Polestar is set for. Powertrain characteristics, if you set it to Polestar, it mimics it increases your throttle response and also your shift points. All right, so it's going to go ahead and shift at your highest RPM or the most optimum RPMs for your most optimum power band. Dynamic and normal, I'm assuming is brake travel. If you have normal, is basically your more dead pedal feel, versus dynamic, which grabs your brake pedals quicker and more aggressively. Suspension control, if you set it to Polestar, it lowers your air suspension. I forgot to mention this car has air suspension. So if you set it to Polestar, it lowers your air suspension, so your drive height is way lower for more aggressive type of driving. I usually set it to comfort for everyday roads. Lights and exterior lighting. Basically, this I'll try to get you guys a night view. The active high beam timing is your sensitivity to your automatic high beams. Based on your normal settings, it lets you know how active or how often you want your active high beams or your automatic high beams to reflect your nature of driving. All right, home safety light, this is basically your homecoming lights, whether or not you want your exterior lights to stay on 30 seconds, a minute, or a minute and a half. You set it to the way you want it. Welcome light, you toggle on and off. Basically, your lights come on whether or not you unlock your vehicle. So if you're in a really dark area, self-explanatory, I guess, right? It's gonna light up for you so you can see on your way to the car. And your triple beam, if you push it halfway, all right, it's gonna let you know that you're switching lanes right or left. But you have your triple indicator right here. You push it halfway. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so basically this toggles on whether or not according to your preference. Interior lighting, I set everything to high because I like the ambient lighting at night. All right, I'll try to get you guys a more of an ambient light feature at night, but I set everything in terms of mood, everything too high. So I just like the whole LED feel within the vehicle at night. For exterior mirror tilt at reverse, usually I set it to both. So it really helps me with parallel parking so I don't curb rash. But if you set it to reverse, you can hear the mirrors reversing or tilting. So I put it back. Alright. And it's going to put everything back to normal positioning, which is cool. Alright. And you could toggle on and off whether or not you want your mirrors to fold when you lock, and also easy entry. Since if you're equipped with air suspension, you could toggle on and off whether or not if you open the door, if the car wants to, if the car should lower for you to get in easier. Right here you have the auto toggle, so it's gonna let you know if the vehicle will chirp when you unlock the door or lock the door, I mean. And also auto close sunroof curtain, I usually set to definitely auto close, because during a hot summer's day, if you automatically or you accidentally leave it open, your car is going to get really hot. Alright, so parking, brake, and suspension, I usually I check the auto activated parking brake because it's a very handy feature in case you forget. Alright, wipers and everything else. Auto rear wiper, if you have it activated, once you put the vehicle in reverse and it senses rain, it's going to go ahead and clear out the rain for you in the rear hatch. System volume, it lets you know whether or not you want your voice control, your navigation voice settings, your park assist, how you want each of your individual tones to sound, or how loud you want your tones to sound. So if you want your park assist to sound a little bit less intrusive, you could click that. If you're really in need of a parking assist, then you could increase the volume. Okay, and you could always reset to factory settings. So next we have climate. We are almost approaching the end of this tour. Hopefully it's minimal in terms of running time, but you can set everything. Automatic steering wheel heat level, you can set it to low, medium, or high. Basically when you come on or when you start the car, if it's based on your vehicle temperature, you can set your steering wheel, heated steering wheel, to low, medium, high. I set it to low. Same with your driver's seating, I usually set it to low as well. Alright, everything else, your air quality sensor, your recirculation time, you could check that as well. Basically, if you want the car to let you know whether or not it's time to get some fresh air in, if your windows are fogging too much, you could check on this as well, so you don't have to worry about manually unclicking your recirculation on and off. Alright, so last but not least, I want to talk about the driver's profile. And what's really nice about this is, like I said before, it's so convenient if you have two drivers sharing one car. So let's say I am driving my car right now, but my dad decides to take over during a road trip or something like that. You could easily drag down your menu, profile, and then from here I'm going to click on my dad's profile, confirm. Alright, and then you can tell that everything is switched up to my dad's settings. Alright, so the seats are all different. Alright, the instrument cluster has turned to red, as you can tell, his favorite color scheme. Alright, and obviously his temperature climate has also activated to 70, and he likes his a fan speed to 3, I believe. The only downside is it does take a little while for it to set up, but there's a ton of customizations right here. So his fan speed is actually set to 3. I'm gonna turn it lower or off because it's messing with my audio. So just to sum up, I will drag this menu down, switch it up to my profile, alright, and then confirm, and everything else is returning to normal, like my settings right now. Alright, and then from there it does take a while, but the instrument cluster will go ahead and turn back to my normal glass configuration, and all my safety preferences will switch back to my own preferences. All right, and this is why I am so impressed with the vehicle. I know it's a lot of other cars will be able to do this or do this already. Let's say, for instance, my friend's Tesla, you could do that as well. But it is so nice to share a vehicle and having this option, because it makes life a lot easier, but then again, first world problems. All right, so if you guys are, I don't know, if you guys have any other questions, just let me know in the comments down below whether or not you want to know more about the whole Sensus navigation situation. I try to be as informative today, but I'm aware that I kind of rushed through everything, so my apologies for that. Thank you guys for sticking with me for this long, and I'll see you guys in my next one. All right, take care.